business. Under regular business, the City Council considers recommendations from city staff on policy matters or administrative actions that require City Council approval. The first regular business item is G1, Approve 2026 City Council Roll Call Voting Procedure. Here to introduce the item is City Clerk Judy Herron.
Thank you, Mayor Nash. So yes, the item before the City Council is according to the City Council Procedures Manual. And we will be asking the City Council to approve a roll call voting procedure for calendar year 2026 to be used if there is any remote appearances by a City Council member. Currently, the City Council is using alphabetical order with legal first name with the mayor voting last. The City Council can either direct staff to retain that roll call vote order, or if there is a different order the City Council wishes to use, that could be done as well. That concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions or open it up to public comment.
Let's open it up to public comment, please.
Thank you, Mayor Nash. So for any member of the public who wishes to provide comment on item G1, the City Council roll call voting procedure, if you are in person, return that speaker card. If you are virtual, engage that hand feature. Calling in, please press *9 now. This is the final call for public comment on item G1 for City Council roll call voting procedure. All right, seeing no hands or cards, Mayor Nash, you may continue.
Thank you. I would like to open for City Council questions and discussion now. Would anyone like to start? Councilmember Combs.
Yeah, I mean, no desire to make this more complicated. I'm generally aligned to the roll call vote. My only tweak or suggestion would be that, like, since it's a council member joining the meeting remotely that triggers this roll call, why not have that person by default vote first? And then you go to whatever alphabetical order that you have. Just if the thinking is that, like, the trigger is the person not being, the council member not being here, maybe they should vote first. But again, it's a suggestion, and open to hearing others' thoughts on this.
I'm fairly neutral. Whatever is the easiest process. This feels procedural.
Same. City Clerk Karen, do you have any thoughts on this matter?
The order in which the roll call is taken doesn't really impact, the voting, whether for the minute taking or the record. The suggestion made by City Council Member Combs is totally doable if we wanted to go that route. Completely up to the City Council and how that order is taken.
Thank you. Any input from the City Attorney?
There's no state law or city law that governs this other than the procedures that the council has adopted, which the City Clerk already described.
Thank you. City Council Member Combs, how would you recommend then just for a regular meeting where no one is remote?
Oh, well, then we default to the voting system. And if everyone is...
That's actually right. We have the online.
Yeah. But then if it's broken or something, then I don't know. Like, we could default to this. Again, like I said, not trying to make it complicated. But yeah, in a scenario where for some reason we can't use the voting system and everyone's here, then whatever it currently is, by first legal name, alphabetical, or last name, I can't remember, whatever it is.
Yeah, we're currently by legal first name.
All right. That sounds fine. Great. Thank you.
Okay. So if we could do a vote, we can use our system for this.
So I can make you do you want a motion?
Yeah, I have I will need a motion in a second to approve the roll call vote for 26.
Yeah. So again, my motion would be that adoption of the roll call vote for 2025 with the change that if it is triggered by a council member participating remotely, then that council member would vote first, and then a default to, again, like alphabetical order that's in line. And if
Yes.
for some reason all council members are present and the vote cast system cannot be used, that you would default to the alphabetical
Yes.
roll
Clear.
call that has been used.
Thank you, City Councilmember Combs. Do we have a second? Yes, we do, by Mayor Nash. So we have a first by City Councilmember Combs and a second by Mayor Nash to approve the roll call voting procedure for 2026. Any further City Council questions or discussion? Seeing none, please proceed with voting. And the motion passes with City Councilmember Taylor absent.
Thank you. The next regular business item is G2, consideration of fee waiver for annexation of West Menlo Triangle. Here to introduce the item is Assistant City Manager Stephen Stolte.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. So the West Menlo Triangle is an unincorporated area. It's about 14 acres of residential properties. There's about 16 single-family residences there. And it's actually within the city's sphere of influence according to the San Mateo Local Agency Formation Commission, or LAFCO. You'll hear that come up again tonight. So it is eligible for annexation because it's within our sphere of influence. It's bordered by Santa Cruz Avenue, Alameda de las Pugas, and Sharon Road. The City Council has considered this topic a number of times since 2017, and the most recent was on October 7th of last year, when then City Councilmember Wise requested a future agenda topic related to granting a fee waiver. So here we are tonight. I would like to outline a number of steps that would be involved if the city did take on this annexation project in the lead role. It requires multiple reviews ahead of getting to a LAFCO process. So number one is a general plan amendment to designate land uses and a pre-zoning process for R1U zoning or single family zoning. That's a requirement. We are assuming that this project would have minimal environmental review or would be exempt from CEQA, but we do need to make that determination. There would be a series of public meetings. First, a planning commission meeting for a public hearing on the pre-zoning ordinance. Then that would go to the city council for a public hearing to introduce the ordinance. That's the first reading. And then a city council meeting to adopt the ordinance for pre-zoning at the second reading. The city would also need to engage in negotiations with the County of San Mateo regarding property tax revenue allocation. And that would result in the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors adopting a resolution as well regarding that property tax allocation. And then the LAFCO process can start, which involves its own public hearing and a protest process. So we've estimated all of the staff time that goes into those steps. It's about $60,000 in effort. That's assuming that exemption from CEQA as well. This annexation application would be primarily processed by planning staff in community development and engineering staff in public works. And as we all know, there are a number of high priority projects that affect both of those working groups in particular this year. I have some of them listed in the staff report, but we would want to obviously maintain progress on our high priority projects too, like updating our ADU ordinance, our SB 9 ordinance, and then quite a few development review activities. Engineering staff, they're the ones who are involved with our capital projects too, delivering them on time. So staff would review this annexation application over time as capacity allows with all of our other high priority projects. I have noted here that we would need to investigate a little further to determine longer term financial impacts to the city. There is a lighting district that we know of that we would need to assume responsibility for. There's also determining infrastructure and maintenance in the public right-of-ways in the West Menlo Triangle. And then also there will be demand for new services from new potential residents too. So we would plan to provide updates to the city council as this project progresses. So for now, the consideration of the fee waiver, we're estimating it's approximately $60,000.
Thank you. And just to clarify one thing, I heard 16 single family. It's
60.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Let's go to public comment. City Clerk Herron, do we have public comment on this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Nash. So at this time, if any member of the public wishes to provide comment on item G2, the consideration of fee waiver for annexation of West Menlo Triangle. If you are in person, return that speaker card. If you are virtual, engage that hand feature. Calling in, press *9 now. Okay, currently at 3 speakers. So this is the final call for public comment on item G2, the fee waiver for annexation of West Menlo Triangle. All right, and our first speaker will be Greg Ferris. Greg does have a visual aid, so Greg, if you can just let me know next slide, I can advance those for you. Greg, can you get a little closer to the mic?
Okay, I want to thank everyone for your commitment to the community. Here to advocate for the moving ahead with annexation. And on the next slide, you can see, and you've seen some of these slides before, but the city is a product of annexation. There have been roughly 70 annexations to date. The city's stronger and more unified through annexation. I don't think anyone here would want to pull out any of these pieces of annexed territory to think that would make things better. And we want the city to be more unified and stronger. On the next slide, it shows where the triangle is. It's in District 5. And the next slide zooms in a bit. You see actually that's District 5 split in 2 pieces. It's joined by that little sliver on the bottom, which is part of the golf course. If this annexation goes through, it'll provide a nice anchor to unify District 5 through actual residents, not squirrels. The next slide just shows a little bit more detail about the triangle. We're completely surrounded by the city. The triangle annexation doesn't show up very well for what I'm looking at, but it's in blue. It includes both inside the triangle and also the parts outside, all the way up to the intersections. And it's surrounded by city on all 3 sides. Next slide shows the results of our petition. We've got 80% neighborhood support. Support is in green, neutral's in blue, and opposed, there's 1 opposition in red. I'd like to say, I mean, the neighbors really want this. Menlo Park residents want this too. There's residents here that aren't speaking, who are in the same boat with us. They're on the outside of that, not part of they're already part of the city. They support it too. They're in the same boat with us and whatever's happening within the triangle. There's actually 65 homes. There's been quite a number of subdivisions since we applied 10.5 years ago. And I want to say that the county supports this. And in fact, tonight we've got Dr. Escalera here. She's Supervisor Muller's chief of staff. She can speak on behalf of the county. The county wants it. LAFCO wants it. Tonight, Rob Bartoli from LAFCO is joining us by Zoom. And the state wants it too. That's why LAFCO exists. The next is to clean things up like this. Next slide shows the timeline of things. So we started communications 2014, formal application for annexation in 2015, 10.5 years ago. We paid all the fees that have been asked for us to date, done everything and more for this. Frankly, the big stumbling block in the beginning was the condition of the sidewalks. Next slide. The sidewalks on the Alameda And you can see they were in pretty bad shape. They either had to be ripped out or entirely replaced. So big financial obligation. That's all gone. The county has nicely fixed all that corridor along Santa Cruz and the Alameda. Next slide. So financial aspects. So we did hear about the fee waiver. We paid everything that's been asked for us. All of our work is volunteer. If we were getting paid, we're putting in far more time than the city will in what's happening to come in our canvassing, organizing, fundraising, educating, going to many meetings and so forth. We've invested far more than I think the city has. It's just that we're volunteer and not paid. In terms of financial upside, we don't have an upside. We're actually going to pay a little bit more in taxes, not a huge amount, but a little bit more. The city will gain roughly a little less, but get approaching $200K per year in property taxes. So that's the upside. Clearly, there's also expenses as well. Next slide. So in conclusion, I'm pretty much out of time, but it's time that the city does this and keep annexation alive, and let's finish making one strong Menlo Park. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Dr. Marisol Escalera, followed by Kristen Casse.
Good evening, honorable members of the council, honorable Mayor Nash. My name is Dr. Marisol Escalera, and I'm here representing San Mateo County Supervisor Ray Mueller. I wanted to add that on his behalf, I'm here to express strong support for the Triangle annexation. Supervisor Mueller has supported this annexation since his time on the council and continues to do so. And I just want to express that he also supports the county and the city working collaboratively to achieve agreeable terms. Thank you.
Next speaker is Kristen Casse.
Good evening, Mayor Nash and council members. My name is Kristen Casse, and I'm a resident of the West Menlo Triangle. I'm here to ask you to approve the fee waiver so we can finally restart an application that has been stuck for 10 years. I want to share why 80% of my neighborhood signed a petition for this. Honestly, we feel left out. We live here, we shop here, we eat here, but we can't vote here. And living in this no man's land between the county and the city it's confusing. The sidewalks just stop abruptly. And when we need help, we're relying upon a sheriff that is 2 towns over instead of the Menlo Park police that are right here. We want to be safe, we want to be connected, and we want a more unified and stronger Menlo Park. But this isn't just about our needs. I want to share with you 3 reasons that I believe the Menlo Park City would benefit from unlocking this annexation review process. 1, money. By leaving us in the county, the city is forfeiting significant tax revenue. Every time a home sells, you lose both the transfer tax and the permanent increase in property taxes. And that's just pure cash loss that compounds every year. 2, housing. Annexation could help you meet your goals. It would bring, Greg clarified, about 65 homes, 14 acres into your jurisdiction. And this is prime territory for future ADUs, as well as property splits that would count towards your state housing goals. Plus, as Greg covered, the county recently upgraded a lot of the sidewalk infrastructure, and so you get assets with lower maintenance costs. But my third point is check the math. We know you care about fiscal neutrality, so do we, and the math has to make sense. But we can't prove the benefit of bringing our neighborhood into Menlo Park until the staff is authorized to do this assessment. So voting yes on the fee waiver today is not a final vote for annexation. It's a vote to let the staff run the numbers. And if you vote no tonight, you are choosing to remain in the dark. So please approve the item and let this analysis begin. Thank you.
Okay, we had a virtual hand raised. So our next speaker is Vina.
Hi, thank you for giving me the time to speak. I just wanted to kind of report and plus one the benefits that the previous member so I wanted to highlight that there's been a lot of new development in this particular triangle. And so I don't know if the estimate from the taxes were when they were done, but a lot of new development has already happened and a lot is in progress, which will significantly also kind of increase the revenue from tax. And also, I think on the poll for agreement, there was at least one opposed vote, and I noticed that is from my property, which likely we recently purchased, so likely from the previous owner. So I did want to highlight that 20440 Sharon Road is also supportive of this. We would really appreciate the city council members don't block the process, so that we can have more accurate visibility and numbers into what the benefits will be for the city. And I think the overwhelming majority of the residents in this triangle are supportive. So it could actually bring a lot of benefits for the city moving forward as well. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Rob Bartoli, followed by Leah Rogers.
Good evening, Mayor Nash and council members. My name is Rob Bartoli. I'm the executive officer for the San Mateo Local Agency Formation Commission, or LAFCO, and I just wanted to let you know that I am listening to the meeting tonight and am available for any questions that you may have specifically for LAFCO about our process. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Leah Rogers.
Good evening, Council. I'm also a resident of the Triangle, was involved in early canvassing of the area. And I just want to thank you. When I see your faces, I know how long you all have listened to this issue over the years. And I hope that it's an idea whose time has come and everything is moving. I know the city has put in so much work and the residents are really excited about it. I think it could really unify Menlo Park in a way that hasn't happened in that part of town in a long time. And I just want to say that just hearkening back to a decade ago in conversations with Martha Payatos of heading up LAFCO, it just all made perfect sense that the county wasn't in the business of taking care of cities, and the city was. And everything she said made perfect sense. That was why that organization was there. That was why they were empowered to help make these sort of things happen, bring them up to code, if you will, that the whole idea of these islands of the county being in the cities was not letting Menlo Park have artistic control of the neighborhoods for all the reasons of, you see it when you see additions built and strange houses go up and you say, well, they're clearly not in the city, this must be county. Or important heritage oaks being cut down that would have totally qualified for protection if they were in the city, just because of an artificial line. And so thank you for your examining of this issue. Let's see if we can't bring some sense into this lines of territory here. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Andrea Balin.
Hello. Can't talk. I wasn't planning on talking, but I just thought I'd say a few words. I'm Andrea Balin. I live on Santa Cruz Avenue, not on the county side, but on the Menlo Park side. And I really, truly believe that that whole area should be part of the city of Menlo Park. It just doesn't make sense to me. Santa Cruz Avenue is the main thoroughfare for Menlo Park, although we're also talking about Sharon and that kind of thing. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And having heard all of these things and the amount of work that our neighbors have done for this over the past many, many, many years, it's just incredible. And I know some of you have supported it in the past, and I hope you will support it now. And truly believe if you have other high priority items, I mean, isn't 10 plus years enough to make it a high priority? It's just crazy to me, the time frame this has taken and how hard people have worked for it. So thank you for your help in the city and for listening to this and for considering it. Really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Right, seeing no further hands or cards. And Nash, you may continue.
Thank you, and thank you to all the speakers. I would now like to open for City Council questions and discussion. Vice Mayor Wise, would you like to start?
Thank you. Yes, I'm happy to start. Yes, thank you so much for all the public comment tonight. I will say I'm going to be supportive of this. I think possibly, I live in the area. I speak to these residents, and I understand the frustration that they have. I can imagine how frustrating it must be to technically live in the city but not be able to participate in city activities or be able to vote. And so I'm in support of this tonight.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Thanks. This is straightforward for me. 10 and a half years feels long enough to wait, so I'm also highly supportive.
Councilmember Combs.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So some questions for staff. When you say staff will work on it as they're available, given those high priority projects, what exactly does that mean?
Well, if this fee waiver was approved tonight, we would begin work on this project. We would assign a staff person to it and then start to make progress over time. And we can report back to the city council on how we're doing. But we also want to continue making progress on the other projects too and meeting timelines there. So it's something that we can potentially work into some of the ways we report out on progress on projects like our work plan or the city council workshop or info items in the future too. So we could keep you up to date on that. I don't have more information on timeline of when we would kind of fully accomplish the annexation project, the application processing, but we need to just kind of have those internal discussions around aligning staff resources.
So if the council gives direction tonight to waive the fee, what happens next? You assign a staff member.
Right.
Okay, so a staff member is assigned. Then what happens?
Then we have those internal discussions on how to prioritize the work in light of all of the other things we need to bring to council this year.
And because, and so then when does council get some insight of how you've prioritized it and what timeline? Again, I don't know how then some future council is here 10 years later when you say we'll like sort of prioritize it. I mean, never is a situation where you're dealing with an entity of unlimited resources, right? So there's always a prioritization of something. And so what I want to get at is like, how does the council ensure that if it acts and if there is a majority support to move forward, that it is moving forward on some, actual real timeline, and the council is given updates to maybe weigh in on that prioritization.
Right. And I agree that we need to report out on how this prioritization happens and the progress on the project. We would be committing to moving this forward if the fee waiver is approved. So there might be a time interval that you would want an update from staff on how it's going and how much staff time we've spent in terms of hours processing the application, what stage we're at, that kind of thing. But we would like to make progress this year.
It would also be great, again, and I know there hasn't been a vote yet, so let's assume that there is a vote to get some, once we've reached this phase, to get some benchmarking. And so I'll do my own Googling about like how long it takes to, or on average in California, once a process is, well, I know I actually don't want to do too much Googling because we're already far past what that average turnaround time would be. But like, again, this, doesn't represent, again, I know you have to do your analysis, but does it even represent like a 1% increase in the overall total area of the city? Does it represent a 1% increase in the total overall household in the city? It's a minor, not insignificant, but it's a minor addition to the city. And so what I would want to understand is like, what is a time frame for annexations that represent minor additions to cities actually takes? And so I'm going to do that Googling, and when this comes back, I think guys could also do some understanding of what you think is an adequate timeline to complete something like that. And I know you have other priorities too, but again, like I said, there's always other priorities. And because I want to keep us honest to like actually moving this forward, assuming a majority of council votes for it, and actually reporting out and providing some indication to those residents and possibly future residents who have been following this matter and advocating for it, that like it is actually moving along. And after all that, I am supportive of the fee waiver. I've provided my opinion on this in many other instances, so I won't waste our time by regurgitating that.
So I will say, I know this neighborhood has been interested in annexation for many, many years. and I admire your persistence. And I do hope it looks like, regardless of how the vote comes out, although it's looks like it will pass, that you have patience with us, because we do have many, many other priorities that are state required, as well as just work that the city has already prioritized. And so while it may take, we may be able to ascertain from the Googling how much time it would take to get this through the process, that does not account for all the other projects that we have on our plate that staff is working really hard on. And so I agree that it makes sense to annex the triangle and other parts of the city and get a more unified city. However, at this time, I think the city is already very much overburdened with a number of major projects that will consume essentially all available staff time this fiscal year. So I will be voting no. And the reason why is not because I don't think it's a worthy project. It's that I really believe that this council annexation should be a project that's possibly considered next year, but basically after we've completed some of these projects, which were listed in the staff report, such as the huge one to me that's looming is our downtown housing. And what are we going to do with that? One of the things that other council members have there's been many comments on is, are we looking at other properties? Well, this is yet another project that will stand in the way of being able to do more work on that. We have a finite amount of resources, and the big question for council, which I think we will address again in our council priority setting, will be how do we want to use those resources? So I believe that we should be doing this, but after we've taken care of some of our major projects that are in front of us at this time. So I will not opine on that anymore. So please, Councilmember Schmidt.
Thanks. Two quick things. One is, I think that's fantastic. I do have a lot of faith in staff to load balance this stuff and, juggle those priorities. I think Councilmember Combs created a question in my mind, though. I was reading the analysis section of the report, and I think I made an assumption that the 8 items in there were kind of in the order that they would happen. So to the point about what happens when and how much time it should take, is that roughly kind of milestones from top to bottom, and those are the big steps, or no?
No, they're not in chronological order.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I would ask that we get regular reports back, but certainly within 6 months, staff report telling us how we are doing on all of this. Thank you. Councilmember Combs.
Yeah, thank you. I totally respect your opinion, Mayor Nash, and I will end this comment by making a motion to waive the fees, and I think you've been consistent there. I think for me, from my perspective, if I look at the city and its resources and its priorities holistically, and I think of like last year, I mean, how many council meetings or how many times that we discuss or have to get brought back to us an issue regarding the funding for electrification, right, to the point where then at some point to try to utilize this money, we were talking about electrification kits, which to me, I'm going to say at the moment seemed like really absurd that here we were having this discussion about oh, we've got this money, we've got to spend. And so we're going to do these electrification kits. And I can't even remember what it was, but so it's hard for me to in good faith say that the city found the time to have those discussions. The staff found the time to run down all of the elements to put together what pieces would be in an electrification kit. The council spent lots of times discussing it, providing feedback. Why wouldn't we have the time for something that I find far more critical, far more substantive to our role in local government than something like that? And so for me, it's like, and that's just one example. I can point to other examples of where I would question whether our time was used most effectively or efficiently. So again, like I said, what's, and I'm gonna, butcher it, but there is that famous quote about, politics is all about what you do with a limited amount of resources. It is, that is like what we do up here. It is like taking, and there's always going to be a limited amount of resources. In that environment, I think that this is a priority for the residents, possible future residents, but also I think as an indication to people that city government works. Because when you see something like this that has dragged on for 10 years to add like 64 houses for a small section that is like almost completely bounded by the city, and it has not, this ability to complete this annexation has not happened, is things that people use to say, look, government doesn't work, and city government doesn't work, and specifically Menlo Park government doesn't work. And so for me, I think that like there's a lot of value separate from just the value that has been shared for us as a city for showing and indicating that yes, we do work, and we can do basic things nowadays like annexations, which is again built into like the way cities run. This idea that they will grow when appropriate, and here you actually have residents who, and I'm not clear exactly why they want to join Menlo Park, to be honest. But here you have residents who actually want to join Menlo Park. So it's not even like it's an issue where 40% don't want to join and 60% do, or like a majority don't. It's like everyone essentially there wants to join the city. So okay, I've said enough. I did also make my motion. And so unless the vice mayor wants to make a motion, I know it is her item.
Should I say okay?
All right, so we do have a motion on the floor by City Councilmember Combs and a second by Vice Mayor Wise to approve the fee waiver for processing the annexation of an unincorporated area known as the West Menlo Triangle. Any further City Council question or discussion? Seeing none, please proceed with voting. And the motion passes with Mayor Nash dissenting and City Councilmember Taylor absent. And Mayor Nash, we did have a Zoom audio glitch happen during the top of the meeting. Wanted to know if I could reopen general public comment for people on Zoom who weren't able to participate at that.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to be returning to item D, general public comment for items not on tonight's agenda. I apologize to our Zoom listeners who weren't able to hear the audio here. You are now. So if you would like to provide comment for an item not on tonight's agenda, go ahead and engage that hand feature. Calling in, please press *9 now. Okay, we have one hand, so this is the final call for public comment for items not on tonight's agenda. All right, inviting up Pam Jones.
Good evening, Pam Jones, Menlo Park resident, Bellhaven neighborhood. And thank you for reopening public comment. I logged in, I logged out, because of course I just knew the problem was on my end. So I was glad to get this explanation. I just have a request, and this is in regards to our pools, and that is to have a detailed report of all of the downtime, the length of time that it's down, what the cause is, and how it was remedied, and so that we can begin to look at all of the amount of time and the reasons that our pools are not accessible, and that we can have a remedy. We cannot have a remedy if we don't know what the problem is. So I think that would be really helpful if that type of report was done in the not too distant future. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further hands or cards, or definitely no cards, Mayor Nash, you may continue.
Thank you. And I think they can still hear us. Congratulations to the Triangle and all the residents who are involved in this effort. So the final regular business item tonight is appoint City Council liaisons to San Mateo County Transit District and San Mateo County Transportation Authority. Here to introduce the item is City Clerk Judy Herron.
Thank you, Mayor Nash. So yes, item G3 is requesting that the City Council make liaison appointments to the SAM-Trans and SMCTA. This liaison anticipated that City Council members could serve as a primary point of contact with these board members and these agencies. The liaison could also serve as an advocate for the city's interests, consistent with past City Council actions or policy direction in projects or topics as they arise. That concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions or open it up to public comment.
Please open it to public comment.
Will do. So at this time, any member of the public wishing to provide comment on item G3, appointing liaisons to the SAM-Trans and the SMCTA. If you are in person, return a speaker card. If you are virtual, engage that hand feature. Calling in, please press *9 now. Final call for public comment on item G3. Seeing none, Mayor Nash, you may continue.
Thank you. I would now like to open it for City Council discussion. Vice Mayor Wise.
Oh, my mic is on, sorry. Yes, I was thinking about this more. I am on the Caltrain local government group board, so I'm happy to volunteer myself for these agencies. I will say I don't know if anyone had the opportunity to speak with Councilmember Taylor. I know she's our liaison to Complete Streets, and I know they do a lot of work with SAM-Trans, so I don't know if she has strong feelings. I don't know if anybody else has strong feelings, but wanted to offer that I'm happy to be the primary liaison or alternate.
So I did speak to Councilmember Taylor tonight, not specifically about this, but she did not have any comment about it. So I assume she would have had she wanted. So is anyone else?
I'm happy to defer to the Vice Mayor. I kind of like this
Wonderful.
idea of having domains of expertise. So it's a nice connection to the Caltrain.
Sounds great. City Clerk Karen, do we need an alternate or just a primary?
I do not believe that a alternate is required as long as we do have one primary for each. That would be acceptable.
Sounds great. Can we please, do we need a motion?
Yes, if we could do a motion and a second to select Vice Mayor Wise to both of these liaisons.
And you now have a motion from Vice Mayor Wise and I have second.
Yes, thank you so much. So we do have that motion and second by Vice Mayor and Mayor to appoint Vice Mayor Wise to the SAM-Trans and SMCTA liaisons. Any further City Council question or discussion? Seeing none, please proceed with voting. And the motion passes with City Councilmember Taylor absent. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Vice Mayor Wise. Informational items. Informational items are transmitted to the City Council in staff's effort to provide an update on matters of importance to the City Council. Informational items are not action items. However, a City Council member, city staff member, or member of the public may request to make a comment or ask a question on any of the informational items. City Clerk Karen, do we have any public comments on the informational items?
Thank you, Mayor Nash. So at this time, if any member of the public wishes to provide comment on H1, City Council agenda topics, H2, the update on the Middle Ave Ped and Bike Rail Crossing Project, or H3, an update on the city's shuttle operations. If you are in person and haven't already, please return a speaker card. If you are virtual, engage that hand feature. Calling in, please press *9 now. We currently have 2 speakers on H2, so this is the final call for public comment on items H1, 2, and 3. All right, and our first speaker will be Michael Barclay, followed by Will Ausler.
Good evening. I'm Michael Barclay. I live in West Menlo Park in District 5, and I've lived here for 32 years. I'd like to put the item about the cost of this bike tunnel in perspective from a cost-benefit analysis. If a bicyclist or a pedestrian wants to cross the tracks from Middle and El Camino, they can go a quarter mile north to Ravenswood or approximately a quarter mile south to Alma. Going north from Middle, pedestrians have a sidewalk to go the entire distance to Ravenswood and the Civic Center. Bicyclists can avoid most of El Camino if they want to by cutting through the parking lot a mere 300 feet north of Middle, the parking lot behind Big Five, Staples, and Charles Schwab to get to Ravenswood. So the Menlo Park taxpayers are being asked to spend at least $60 million or more, and with cost overruns, one would expect it might be more, to save bicyclists and pedestrians this quarter mile walk, this quarter mile detour. The shortfall of money you don't have is $40 million. Now, you need that money for other things. The Menlo Park Almanac just had an article a few days ago that said that several of the proposals for the housing on the downtown parking lots, the companies making the proposals need roughly that amount of money just to save the existing number of parking spaces, and they're expecting the city to make up for it. That's just one example. And there are other problems the city has that obviously you can probably spend $40 million on a lot better. I'd like to ask, has there been any survey done of how many people are actually going to use the bike tunnel if you build it? And here's the problem. It's very likely that this tunnel will wind up being a homeless shelter. The homeless will just wind up camping out there, especially at night. And has there been a survey, a recent one, of how many people will use the tunnel if the homeless are there all the time? Have you considered the ongoing costs of keeping the tunnel safe? Will you have to hire an additional police officer to keep the tunnel safe? In other words, you might be spending $60 million here for a homeless shelter. And the reason I came here tonight was when I saw this report and I saw what the cost had ballooned to, I was just astonished. So I ask that you kill this project now. There's a tendency to keep spending money and staff time on projects like this, on additional studies, and you know you're never going to do it because we don't have the money to fund something like this. So the staff time is better spent, quite frankly, on something like the Triangle Annex. So thank you very much, and I hope you realize the cost of this is not sustainable. Thank you.
Next speaker is Will Ausler, followed by, I believe it's Adina Levin, and then John Waddell.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Will Osler. I serve on the Housing Commission, but tonight I'm here as a resident of District 3. I strongly support this project. It's something I personally would use. I know my family would use it. I wouldn't, I would use it to get to Safeway. I would use it to run so I could get to the woodchip path behind Stanford. And generally, I think that we should be focused on grade separation with the Caltrain. It's every couple days that a story about somebody being hit crosses my feed. I don't think all of those are preventable, but I do think that grade separation helps. With regards to the expense, yeah, I do think it is expensive, but I sincerely think that these kinds of investments set us up for the kind of future we want to see, and the walkability and bikeability of our city. And I guess to comment on the homelessness issue, yes, there are homeless people here. I know some of the ones who are near that area because I've volunteered with organizations that work with them. They're good people in unfortunate circumstances, and I don't think that the idea that this would somehow get them out of the rain should be a reason not to improve our public stuff. And I don't think they'd be disruptive if they were to be there. So I would continue to use it and feel safe using it. Thank you so much.
Next speaker, I believe, is Adina Levin, followed by John Waddell, and then a Google Pixel 7.
Yes, this is Adina Levin, and thank you very much for picking that up, even though I forgot to double log out of my Zoom after having work meetings. And I did want to echo what Mr. Ausler has just said. There had been plentiful outreach about the crossing for many, 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 many years. The train tracks are a barrier for many people, including a lot of children who go back and forth from the different sides of the tracks to the schools, to recreational opportunities at the various different parks. And the alternative, if somebody has to, walk all the way around, or a kid has to walk through the much less safe um, Ravenswood crossing, is not a longer bike ride. It is a parent driving a child. And as we all know from how school pickup and drop off and recreational pickup and drop off works, it is traffic jams at our recreational locations and on our streets. With all of the work that has gone to the SRI development, and also the upcoming USGS development, having people who are living on the north side of the Caltrain tracks from the Safeway, having that will enable many more people to go walk and run their daily shopping errands. And, that is also something that will keep cars off our roads and help with daily health and happiness. That the amount of money that it costs, that is a lot of money. It's also the case that these projects have multiple funding sources, including the city, including fees from developers, including fees from the TA and other sources. So all of that burden will not be on the city. And having ways for people to safely get back and forth between major destinations is really a tremendous benefit for our city. So would hope to see this project move forward. Thank you.
Next speaker is John Waddell, followed by Google Pixel 6.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead, John.
Okay, yeah, I'm coming in on Zoom, not on Google Pixel 6, but oh, that's the next viewer. Thank you so much, John Waddell, Menlo Park. I would like to just say that I'm really happy to see items like this on the agenda. I'm fortunate that I've been able to operate without owning a car for many years, commuting on Caltrain, crossing over the train tracks. And I would propose that anyone on council or who cares about this issue should just start on a bicycle or on foot at the Caltrain station in Menlo Park and try to get just to the Charles Schwab station, which is a very dangerous situation. I do believe that there's always been historical challenge of mitigating traffic with vehicles, but folks that are willing to take bicycles and walk would really take advantage of this. And I would say that this was something that's been an issue for decades and decades, but hopefully we can really focus on making sure that children getting back and forth from school and folks that just want to get across will have an opportunity to do so without dealing with the issues at the main intersection, which has historically had to have bollards installed to deal with folks backing up in cars and then being run into by the trains and such. So I do believe this is an opportunity to separate the safety issue from folks just trying to get across on bicycles and on foot from the vehicles that are backing up at Ravenswood, I believe. Thank you so much.
All right. Next speaker is calling in from a Google Pixel 7.
Yes. Hi, this is Katie Baruzzi. Sorry, I had to log in on my phone because of the Zoom issue earlier. I don't have too much to add, but I want to say that this is, I used to live in Linfield Oaks for a very long time and I was actually really looking forward to this undercrossing back when we first started talking about it 20 years ago or so. Silly me, I didn't know how long things took with government. It would have been a lot cheaper back then. And I'll say that as we are continuing to look at adding new housing, and especially adding new housing in the proximity to Burgess Park. Our schools are going to be probably needing to adjust their attendance boundaries. And our roads are undoubtedly going to get more congested if everybody continues to drive everywhere, as others have said. And so, but it's actually really painful right now to bike from Linfield Oaks to Safeway, even though Safeway is right there. So I know this is expensive. I also think that there are expenses associated with not doing something like this and continuing to believe that the congestion is magically going to go away instead of increase. As we add more people in proximity to this area at USGS, at SRI, and all these other places. And to be clear, I'm enthusiastic about including people in our community. I just want to know that we have alternatives for them that don't involve getting in a car and sitting in traffic for 10 minutes to go to the grocery store that's half a mile away. Thanks so much.
Great. Seeing no more hands, no cards. Mayor Nash, you may continue.
Thank you. Are there any council members who want to comment on any of the information items? We will be, this Middle Avenue item will be, the undercrossing will be coming back to us at the next meeting as a study session. So there will be plenty of opportunity to speak about it there. And I want to thank the folks from Caltrain who attended the meeting tonight. Thank you. And all the speakers. With that, I think we will go ahead on to the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have any updates this evening.
Thank you. City council member reports. Councilmember Schmidt.
Thanks. I'm happy to share a quick one just from our participation with Rethink Waste. There's an Assembly Bill 762, which I've mentioned a time or two, but I just wanted to keep folks updated. That looks like it's going to pass out of committee and go into appropriations a little bit later this month, and then hopefully go to the full assembly toward the end of the month. As a reminder, that's a bill that would prevent the manufacture of single-use vapes. And the thinking behind this is there was a big fire at the processing facility, and these things, because of their lithium batteries, create a lot of fire hazard. And obviously single-use plastics is also really, really bad for the environment and fills up the landfills. So this one's a little harder fought because of interests in the cannabis industry and other things, but it's making its way through. Obviously, as individuals, we'll have the opportunity to sign on as it goes to the Assembly and eventually the Senate. But good news is it looks like it's going to pass out of Assemblymember Berman's committee, and if it doesn't die in appropriations, then we'll be in the full assembly toward the end of the month. So just a quick update on that, and I'll keep you posted. I'm part of their ledge subcommittee, so pretty actively involved in that. So, thanks.
Thank you. I do have one other, and that was on December 17th, Councilmember Schmidt and I both attended the police swearing-in ceremony where 5 professional staff and 3 police officers were sworn in. And once again, it was just a wonderful event with friends and family there, and highly, I know some have been to the event numerous times, but just highly recommend it. It's just a wonderful event, really, really well done. So thank you. With that, I think we will adjourn. Thank you.